The text from my cousin Derek arrived at 11 p.m., a ghost of blue light in my dark apartment. You weren't supposed to know about tomorrow. Mom said you weren't invited. I stared at the screen, my breath catching in my throat. On the kitchen counter, gleaming under the overhead light, sat the elegant wedding invitation that had arrived that very morning, my name etched in gold calligraphy. The disconnect was a physical slap. I'm Maya, and at 24, I've perfected the art of being the invisible daughter. While my older brother's career milestones were toasted with expensive champagne, my double shifts as a dental assistant went unmentioned. While my parents funded his lavish lifestyle, I pinched pennies for nursing school. But in that moment, holding two contradictory truths, the official invitation and my cousin's clandestine warning, the familiar ache of neglect hardened into something new, a resolve to uncover their lies. My call to my mother was met with glacial dismissal. Derek specifically said he didn't want you there, she stated, her voice devoid of maternal warmth. You'd just embarrass us. His new in-laws are a different caliber of people, sophisticated, you understand. When I protested, citing the invitation in my hand, she dismissed it as a mailing error and revealed the cruel choreography they'd arranged. We told him you were too busy with work. It's better this way. The line went dead, leaving me in a silence that echoed with betrayal. Scrolling through social media that night was a descent into a parallel universe where I did not exist. My family's feeds were a jubilant countdown to Derek's wedding, my brother boasting about his tailored suit, my aunts comparing hairstyles, my parents posting gleeful photos from a rehearsal dinner I hadn't known was happening. I had been digitally and deliberately erased from the narrative. The following morning, I listened from my bedroom as my parents prepared, their laughter and casual chatter about photography schedules drifting past my closed door. They left without a word, the slam of the front door a period on their sentence of exclusion. The slights that followed were meticulously crafted to reinforce my place outside the family circle. A celebration dinner at an upscale steakhouse, documented in my brother's gloating Instagram post, from which I was pointedly excluded. A chance grocery store encounter where my mother, eyeing my scrubs with disdain, advised me to try to look presentable in case I bumped into Derek's sophisticated new relatives. The final, breathtaking audacity came 2 weeks later, a demand for a $100 contribution to a lavish wedding gift from which my name would be omitted. It's a family gift, my father explained, as if the word had quotation marks around it that excluded me. Don't be dramatic, Maya. Family helps family. What my parents didn't know was that their web of lies had a critical flaw. Derek and I had a private line of communication. While they told him I was too busy and told me I was not wanted, Derek had been genuinely confused by my sudden silence regarding the wedding decorations. Months earlier, his fiancée, Emma, an effortlessly kind graphic designer, had enlisted my help. In secret, during precious hours after my shifts, I had been hand-painting delicate table numbers and sketching centerpiece designs, finding joy in contributing to their happiness. Derek was aware of this collaboration. Our parents, however, had positioned themselves as gatekeepers, intercepting communication and fabricating narratives on both sides. The pivotal crack in their facade appeared when Emma herself called me, her voice laced with concern. Your parents keep saying you're swamped, but you seemed so excited about the projects. What's going on? When I revealed what I'd been told, that Derek didn't want me there, her shock was palpable. Maya, you're on the guest list at table 6 with your family. She revealed the original invitation had been mailed 6 weeks prior, a piece I had never received. The realization was a cold splash of clarity. My parents had intercepted my invitation, orchestrated a campaign of mutual deception to keep Derek and I apart, all to curate a guest list they deemed worthy of their social aspirations. Armed with this truth and a folder of screenshot evidence, every text where my parents had spoken for me, every excuse they'd fabricated, I made a decision. I would not be the invisible daughter that day.
Emma, righteously furious on my behalf, became my ally. "The wedding is in 2 days. You are coming," she insisted. "Derek will be devastated if you're not." The morning of the wedding, overhearing my mother's triumphant call, "At least we don't have to worry about Maya causing any drama. She's staying home where she belongs," only steeled my nerve. I spent that afternoon transforming from the overlooked sister into a woman claiming her space. I wore a simple but elegant navy dress that made me feel anchored and strong. When I arrived at the reception venue, guided by Emma's instructions, it was as cocktail hour was winding down. Emma spotted me instantly and swept me into the crowd. The first to see me was Derek. His face, initially etched with polite happiness of a groom, broke into a radiant, unguarded smile of pure joy. He crossed the dance floor in long strides and pulled me into a crushing embrace. "You made it!" he exclaimed, his voice booming with genuine delight. "I was so worried when they said work was keeping you, but Emma told me everything." The entire family table swiveled in unison. My mother's complexion turned to ash. My father fumbled, his whiskey glass clattering against the table. My brother's jaw went slack. "How could you lie to us both?" Derek demanded, his arms still around me, addressing my parents directly. "Maya has been helping plan this wedding for months. She made the decorations you've been complimenting all night." The spotlight of truth was unforgiving. I didn't need to shout. I simply pulled out my phone and showed Derek, and the curious in-laws now leaning in, the digital paper trail of deception. My mother sputtered about miscommunication, but the evidence was irrefutable. Then Emma, seizing the moment, took the DJ's microphone. Her voice, warm and clear, cut through the murmurs. "Before we continue, I need to thank someone incredibly special. These beautiful, hand-painted table numbers and centerpieces everyone loves, they were created with so much love by Derek's amazing cousin, Maya. Maya, honey, stand up so everyone can thank you." The applause that erupted wasn't polite, it was robust and heartfelt. Derek's new in-laws, the very people I was deemed too embarrassing to meet, led the ovation, their faces warm with appreciation. The extended family, many of whom had been fed vague excuses for my absence, looked between me and my parents with dawning understanding. My parents did not stay for the cake cutting. They gathered their coats and dignity and slipped out into the night, their exit as quiet as their humiliation was public. The rest of the evening was a balm to my spirit. I danced, laughed with cousins, and was welcomed into Emma's family circle with an easy warmth my own never had offered. As I drove home, the silence in my car was peaceful, not lonely. Their exclusion had meant to shrink me, to confirm my unworthiness. Instead, by choosing to show up for Derek, for Emma, and for myself, I had shattered their narrative. I learned that family is not a privilege they bestow, but a bond you nurture. Their approval became irrelevant the moment I realized I didn't need it to have a seat at the table. Sometimes the greatest rebellion is simply arriving as your authentic self, letting the truth speak loudly enough to drown out a lifetime of lies.